This is a quick, hopefully quick, review of the SkyRC RS TW Pro tire warmers. So I'm going to start with, so just if you're watching this to look at the menu, I'll go through the menu first, and then after that I'll talk about why you may want to consider using them, if they're actual useful or a good idea to get, and why you should or maybe not get them. So let's go to the menu real quick. Once you plug it in, it automatically goes into the menu. There's 4 menu settings. You can go up and down, and you can go into all 4. Now that you have that, just to get the tire warmers set up, just go left or right. If you go right on quick warm, it starts. So it's going to start warming depending on whatever the settings were prior to this. I'm going to go over the settings in a bit. Go right again, it'll stop it. If you go left, it'll go into the settings. So right will initiate an action, left will take you to the settings. So left, here it has the degrees in Celsius, because I have it set up in Celsius. I'll show you how to change it later if you want Fahrenheit. So the front tires are going to be warming at 55 degrees, rear tires at 49 as it is now. And then you can just go up or down on the settings. When you change the front, it'll automatically change the rear and match it. No big deal. So say you drop it down to 50, then you can go just right, and then you can adjust the rear, make the rear hotter, colder, whatever you want. Now, why would you want different temperatures on the tires? Well, let's say you are, in the beginning of the race, right? There's not enough heat yet built up on the tires, and you're oversteering a little. Maybe you want to put more heat in the rear tires so that it grips a little more in the initial part of the race, while everything warms up as you're running. If you've ever run a race, you've probably noticed that your tires are warm, sometimes hot, depending on the ambient temperature, because, well, there's friction. So that's what it is. So if I want to go back, just go right. So your right and your left buttons are going to dictate what happens. So let's go back to this. So here I am. I'm going to start it. I went right. It starts it. If I hit left, it'll give me how much time it's been warming for. And then if you go right, it'll stop it. So again, here we go. I'm over here. Tell me the time. If I go left, so I keep going left, it'll just switch back and forth between the menu. There's the temperature. There's the time, temperature, time. That's it. Go right, stops it. And that's what you have to know. So if you're a quick time, go left to change the settings, go right to go back to the menu, and go right to start it. And that's what you do. So let's now go to step 2. Step 2, you can set up how long you want to warm it for. So I want to warm it, say 5 minutes. Maybe I want to warm it for 10. So just go up and down to change the time. All right, so back to that. There's the temperature, front and rear. So now I can adjust the front. I can go up. Notice how to adjust at the rear automatically. So I can go to the rear. Maybe I want to drop the rear down to 50. And then go right. And then if I want a delay, I can set the delay. So the delay, let's just say you want, you're going to start wrenching and you don't want to forget to turn it on at a certain time. So you're thinking, all right, so 30 minutes before the race, I should really start warming these up. But I'm going to start wrenching and I don't want to forget. So you set the delay, and that's what it's for. So you can go up and down on the delay. It doesn't matter. And then you just go to the right. So everything's set, and that's it. So now you go, so left, everything is set. I apologize. I made a mistake there. All right, so now we're going to go right, start the delay, 5 minutes, and it'll start the 5-minute mark. And then after this, it'll start. Now, let's just say you change your mind and you're like, oh my God, I want to get it started now. Well, just go right, it'll end the delay time, and it'll start charging. And then if you realize, oh, I made a mistake, I want to stop, just go right and stop. So always stop this before you remove them, but be careful not to grab them, stick your fingers in there, start licking this stuff because it's going to be hot. Not sure why you would lick it. But anyway, quick warm and the two steps is probably what you're going to be using. Let's go down to 3. Again, depending if you go right or left, that's going to be the menu. If we go left, we're in the settings. So left will take you to the settings. And the difference is here I have the time I'm going to warm, the temperature I'm going to warm, and let's go right, let's go right, let's go right. And now we are 2 of 3, which is the delay. I can set the delay. Again, I already explained why you might want to do a delay. And then we're going to go, I accidentally went back. And that's it. So let's go left, go left, go left, go left. Actually, now I'm going in circles. What am I doing? Dun, dun, dun. There we go. Kept going left. So now I'm back. So I can set 3 different ones. That's cool. Now 4. This is where your main stuff is going to be. So if you go to 4, most of the time you're probably going to be using just 1 and 2. If you go to 4, this is where all the settings are. So temperature, you can change this. Oops, sorry. So go right again, and then that starts flashing. Now you can go Fahrenheit, Celsius, right? Fahrenheit, Celsius, leave it Celsius. Go left. I'm going to go right so I can show you the rest of the menu. Here we go. So go right to select, and now I can go up and down. So once this is no longer flashing because I've accepted going right, I can now toggle up and down. So minimum temp, if you want to change it, hit right. And then off or 20, we'll leave it at 20, go right, accept, it stops. And then, let's see, I need to shoot beeps. So which beep do you want? Go right to select, off. So if you don't want it to beep, there you go. I'll leave it at 1. And then right, if you find beeping annoying, just turn it off. But the nice thing about beeping is you know it's taking the input. That's the only reason why I would say keep a beep on. All right, cutoff. Now, this is actually really nice. So the cutoff, this operates on 4S, or I'm using my Hota charger here, which is outputting 4S equivalent. The nice thing about it is if you're using a 4S pack and you're plugging it in, and it starts draining because it's using the battery. Once it gets to 11.8 volts, it'll just shut off. That way it doesn't kill your battery. You don't run it flat, especially like lipos. You don't want to run them flat, you'll destroy them. So that's why that's important. But you can also adjust it, change it. So if I go right, I can bump up the voltage, bump it down. I'm gonna leave it as is. And then right, you select, so now you go up and down. Minutes, here. Let's just say you leave it and you leave the warmers on. How long do you want it to be on for? Maybe you just want it to run for 60 minutes. And then you just call it good, and then that's it. So now we can keep going up. That's the version, and we're back to temperature. So let's go left. Left takes us back to the original menu. So let's go through this really quick. So we're back at warmers number 1. So we go left, it'll give us the main settings. Whatever's flashing, that's what we're changing. We go up and down to change the values. Once we accept them, we hit the right, and it'll take us to the next one. Up and down to change the values. Once we're ready to accept, we go right, and that's it. So start left, change the values, then go right. Now, once this is flashing, if you hit right, it'll be accept. It'll start warming everything up. These here, hit it again, it'll stop warming them. So quick warm, you are the one that's controlling everything. You control the time, you control everything. That is why in option 4, you want to set that max runtime just in case you forget. This thing will shut off automatically in that steps. So again, 2, go left, change settings. If you go left again, it'll take you back. If you do want to change the settings, just go up and down and then right to accept. Takes to the next one, up and down, change to accept, up and down, right to accept, and then up and down. This is for the delay if you want the delay. And you continue on. So setting number 2 will give you the charge time, the temperature, and a delay. And then I'm going to go just left, left to go everywhere. Well, I guess I can go right, right, and then do everything. Right? Anyway, just keep going right. And then once you're here, instead of going left, you just go right and set your start time, start delay. Say you set, if you go 0, it'll start right away. I'll go here. It'll start in 3 minutes. I changed my mind. I wanted to start now. Go right again. Up, change my mind. I want to stop it. Do that. And then for 3, you're going to do the same navigation, left or right to accept. 4, this is where your settings are. Notice it's still at 60 minutes. And that's it. So now, our tire warmers are a good idea. Do you need them? Do you not? Well, technically, you don't really need any of this stuff. It's a hobby, so you're doing it because you like it and you want it. If it's just for bashing, to be honest, it doesn't really matter. Who cares? Tire warmers are really just to give you an edge if you are racing competitively. So these are touring car sizes. You can get some different sizes too. They make some that actually Velcro on. That are soft. So if you're running short course, you can get the the larger ones for short course or buggies, or you can get these. These are nice. These are the hard ones for touring car. But when you run your car, when you're racing, if you have not, you will someday, or maybe after you bash, notice that your tires might be cold, and then after you run them, they start getting warm. And if you're actually racing on a track, for example, asphalt track, which is what I have done, you'll notice that sometimes the tires get pretty hot if it's hotter weather out. So they do get hotter. So the question is, why would you want to warm them? Because when you warm them, you take them off, and then by the time you go outside, you tech, and then you place the car down, it's cooled. The surface has cooled. Well, that's the thing. It's not really just for the surface, it's actually the inside of the tire. So when you warm the tires up, you're warming all of the rubber. And then once the rubber actually warms on the inside, if it's been on for long enough, the air inside between the wheel and the tire is now warm. So the foam, all of that is now warm. So even though you remove this off the warmers and you go outside, or wherever it is that you're racing, maybe it's indoor, what's going to end up happening is once you start running it, it's just the surface that needs to warm, because inside the air is already warm. So the surface will actually warm faster when you're running because there's already some heat on the inside. That's the reason behind it. It's not really to keep the outer surface warm because that will cool. It's to keep the inside warm so that the outer surface warms up faster once it's heating up from the friction. Why? Because you don't have to heat up the inside as much, which means that more of that heat's going to stay on the surface rather than trying to warm up the inside. Because remember, heat always tries to go from high energy to low energy. And yes, rubber's somewhat of an insulator, the foam's somewhat of an insulator, air is an amazing insulator too, but all of that stuff is now warm. So keep that in mind. Now also, depending on if you're using certain additives, sauces, for the tires, you could be using something like this, Mighty Gripper Black. This is something I use. You don't actually need to warm this up. This is if you're running like harder plastics, you might want to use something like this. But let's just say you're using Mighty Black orange, so it's the orange one. You want to bake that stuff on the tires and then you sort of wipe off. So one of the things that you want to do is you want to warm it up. And if you use the tire warmers, you'll notice that the additive will actually soak into the tire a lot better, especially if you compare cooler weather to warmer weather. I mean, warmer weather, you can probably just leave it outside. It'll be fine. It'll just bake on. But if you're indoors or it's cooler weather, you'll notice it'll take much longer for that stuff to dry. And then as soon as the tires hit the track, it'll start sliding back and forth until the tires heat up, or that extra bit that was left on the surface is removed from the friction. But something that I would still suggest that you do is use a shop towel, such as these blue shop towels. I'm not sure if the blue color is coming through the camera. And then stick them inside of here. And then once you stick them inside of here, that will help you maintain a relatively even spacing between the tire surface and the heating elements. So that is something that I would suggest that you do. That way this isn't contacting. So say the car is just sitting as it normally would. You don't want this to just be touching the top part of the tire, because then one side of the tire is going to be hotter than the other side. So there are reasons why you want to use tire warmers. There are reasons why a lot of people use tire warmers. And that's really the reason why. It's not really for the surface temperature, it's the internal temperature, because once you get the internal temperature of the tires up, even after the surface cools, it'll warm up a lot faster, because the friction, the heat caused by the friction from the surface and the contact patch on the tire, more of that heat will stay on the surface of the tire, because it won't have to heat the inside as much as it would otherwise. So that's the reason why. Do you actually need them? No. Does it give you an edge? Yes. Is it significant? I don't know. It depends on the individual what significant is. Keep in mind, losing 0.1 on a race per lap is a big deal. It really is for many people. It doesn't sound like much, 0.1 of a second, right? But if you're doing 20 laps, that adds up. That's, well, let's see, 0.1 times 20, that's yep, that's, wow, yeah, just carry 1, multiply by 2. That's going to make a big difference between winning or losing, a whole 2. So that's the reason why people invest in these. Now this, I don't remember how much I paid for this. I want to say I got this off AliExpress for about $90. You can buy these at your local hobby shop for probably about $110, $120. I think I paid $90 AliExpress. I'm not saying that you should go and just buy an AliExpress, right? Buy at your own risk. Make sure that you're reviewing everything. I've had good luck, luckily. Their protections seem to be very good. Return policies tend to be very good. Now, this came straight from Hong Kong, so it took a while. I think it was about 3 weeks before I got it. Although sometimes, this thing came in within the same week. Sometimes you'll get stuff in right away. Sometimes there'll be a delay. So keep that in mind. Don't buy it the day before you need it if you're ordering online. Last thing about the features. So I will go ahead and disconnect this. If you look at the charger, yes, you can connect a DC input right here, or what I use is this. Then I can just connect it to my Hota charger. And I just carry this little cable instead of a whole block. But here the lights will illuminate which one is on, if they're all working or not, which is somewhat nice. Now, if these little lights blow out, then, good luck. But you can connect them. So this is where they connect. Front is going to be on the left, rear is going to be on the right. And then the right side tires are going to be toward you. The left side tires are going to be away from you. So when you connect this cable, if you're connecting it on the right, you automatically know these are the rear tires. And then you just look at the wires, the way they're coming out. So right here, you can actually just feel this is going to be the left tire. So this is going to be left rear. This is going to be left right. Why? Because this wire is closest to me. And the same thing you do over here. Once you connect this, right, look at the wires. This is going to be its front because it's on the left side. And then the right side tire closest to me, left side tire farthest from me. And that's how you know which is which. So that being said, I hope this was useful or at least entertaining. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe if you have not, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Oh, my hair! My arm! My rod!